Hi friends, my name is Sasha.
And I'm Mia.
And this is the Drawing Club podcast.
A weekly show where we chat about art, creativity, life,
and my cats.
And all of this while drawing a new illustration every week.
And you can draw with us. If you do, please share your creations on social media and tag us in your posts.
Welcome to the club, friends.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, friends. So glad to be here again.
Yes, and as always, we start our episodes with one thing from this week that we want to share with the club today. So, Mia, do you want to share your thing with the club?
Yes, I can share my thing. So, over the weekend, we actually binge-watched a TV show, and I was just thinking about it. I don't think I watched TV shows, really, for, for the past months. I haven't really. We've been watching, a lot of movies, but we haven't really been watching TV shows, which is kind of weird for us. So, on the weekend, we decided, we really want to binge something, because we haven't done it in a while, and it's obviously really nice. So we watched this show called Euphoria. I think it's an HBO show, and oh my god, it was so beautiful. How should I describe it? I mean, a lot of you might have already seen it because it's been out for at least a year or something. And I remember, I think when it came out, everyone was talking about it a lot, and I was very interested, but I only got around to watching it now. But it's kind of a dark show, so it's not a feel-good show, but it deals with these high school kids and mental health issues and drugs, and yeah, it's pretty dark, but it was so good, and visually it's so beautiful. I really loved it, and it was very intense to watch it. So I don't know if you're looking for something interesting and maybe intense, but also beautiful, but really pretty sad and devastating. This might be the TV show for you. Have you seen it, Sasha?
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I've heard about it, especially back when it was new. Everyone was talking about it,
yeah.
And I've been wanting to see it, but somehow, still haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It was really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Sounds good.
Well, so what do you want to share with the club today?
Well, I've already, you friends already know that I have a day job that is not my passion, but something I do just so that I have some stable income on the side. And I've been trying a new one this week, and I just started, and I'm not sure yet if I like it, so I'm not gonna go into details about the actual job, but the thing that I've been really happy about is that I got my mornings back. That's a huge thing for me, because in my previous, or it's not previous yet because I just took 1 month off from my other day job. Anyways, that was I had morning shifts, and they were really early, and they were kind of getting earlier all the time. So I had no mornings at all. I would just get up, get dressed, pour a glass of coffee into myself and leave, and then come back really tired and hungry and sleepy. So and yeah, I was really missing that. And now I have evening shifts, so in the morning I can do my creative work, but also I can get up and make myself some nice breakfast, and maybe listen to a podcast while I'm doing that, and I don't know, be slow. I'm usually really slow. My mornings are usually really long because it takes me a while to actually wake up and get out of bed, and then I can open all the windows and get some fresh air, and I don't know, do some morning things to get myself in the mood to do stuff. And that's been really nice these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I love a slow morning. I'm also like very, it takes me a while to get going in the morning, but I really love it like when I can take the time to do that.
Yeah. So that's my thing that I've been really happy about.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
So, well, I hope some of your friends are drawing with us because we are drawing.
Yes.
And I was wondering what you're drawing, Mia.
Yes. Oh, I'm drawing another witch again because that's what I do pretty much every October. But this one has a cat. She's holding a cat. I hope it's gonna be really cute. This is a piece that I've already like started earlier, but I couldn't finish it, so I'm not even sure if I can finish the piece in this episode, but I'm gonna try. And I'm using my watercolors and also like a brush pen for outlines. What are you drawing?
Well, the only thing I think of drawing nowadays are tattoo designs.
Ooh.
So I'm just making some sketches that could possibly be tattoos. And
Nice.
I've been recently like really inspired by, well, actually it started with me kind of getting this idea of getting a tattoo for myself. For somehow like it's been a while now that like, because nowadays I look at a lot of different like tattoo designs just on the internet just to kind of get the ideas of what people are getting and stuff just for research.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been really into the kind of a tattoo that like people get in like between boobs.
Ooh, those are
Just
so
kind of
pretty.
Yeah, just kind of this long, thin thing that then on the top kind of becomes a little like flower or something like that. And I've been really wanting to get one for myself. I just like, I really got into this kind of a design. And it's also real like a bit weird for me because it's a bit like, this is the kind of tattoo that might like look kind of like sexy to some people. Even though like boobs don't have to be always sexy, but you know, like if you get something on your arm or if you get something on your boob, you know, like that the boob one will be interpreted as something sexy more than the arm one, right? So, and I'm like not the kind of person who expresses myself in like a sexy way usually. It's just not my thing. So that was a little bit like, I'm like, how am I like so into this? Even though I usually like that's not usually like my thing. But I don't know. Maybe this is the kind of sexy that I like. I don't know. But yeah, I am dreaming now of like in between boobs tattoo for myself. And also I got really inspired to like sketch some designs of like this shape. I mean, it can be on any body part, but like this kind of really thin and long stem and then some small flower on top. So I'm just sketching a bunch of ideas like that because I don't know, those type of designs got me really inspired.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Thank you.
Okay, so should we introduce our topic of the day?
Yes, let's do that.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about getting back to drawing. Which, yeah. I guess we have a lot to say. I hope we do. I mean, it's something we both have like experience with.
Yeah, since like these past or like this whole year has been for many people, like I guess a lot of people experienced a lot of like creative block in many different areas, or just block, not even necessarily creative, but kind of like this is now one of those times when it gets harder to do things that usually you do. But of course, like even before, we've all, I'm sure, experienced some kind of block, even at other times. And yeah, we thought we could explore on this topic because now it's very current. Yeah, but also like, yeah, also always, what is the, I'm like really rusty with talking today. So.
It's okay, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you. I'm gonna like forget English words and I'm gonna try to explain it with other words. I hope that's fine.
It's totally fine.
Yes. But anyways, we thought maybe we could start with like sharing experience of like the kind of creative blocks we've maybe experienced, or just generally like, yeah, like could you share your experience with like times when you couldn't really draw or do creative work?
Yeah.
Or something like this. Like, does this happen to you often? And how does that happen?
Yeah, I think it definitely happens to me quite often, and it's definitely something that like ebbs and flows. Like sometimes I can create and sometimes I can't, and sometimes like I can create but it's like easier than other times, or it feels nicer than other times, and or like more natural. But yeah, definitely I feel like I mean, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I had like years when I didn't really draw and like maybe like create in general very much. When I was studying at the university, I kind of maybe drew a couple of times a year, and it was always a struggle, and I kind of always just got anxious and like discouraged, and like I saw myself as this creative person, but I couldn't even like draw. So I felt like a fraud, and it was like very painful at the time. So that's like my biggest, because that was like years of my life where I mostly felt like this about drawing. So that was definitely like the most difficult one to kind of come out from. But that one, like actually what helped me at that point was I did my first Inktober challenge. I just did like, okay, I'm gonna draw every day. I'm gonna make like a new Instagram profile that no one like knows about, and I'm just gonna like draw these simple ink and marker drawings. And like it looked pretty different from how I draw now, but I was just kind of, I just wanna like get back to drawing. And I was unemployed at the time, so I had like time to do that, and it was like that kind of got me into drawing. And then I think I had like really creative and like in drawing terms kind of productive couple of years where I pretty much felt like just so excited about like rediscovering drawing that it kind of, I felt like for a long time that kind of sustained me in my creativity. But then I think after that it's been more like there are times when I don't draw, and then I have to get back to drawing, and then I do. And you know, what about you? How has it been for you? Like, do you recognize these, that you have these phases?
Yeah, for me it's in general like my like all of my creative life is very like up and down. Like I in general have a lot of like times when I can't do anything at all, and that includes also like creativity. Yeah, sometimes I guess I would be able to do like other tasks but not be able to be creative, and other times I just can't do anything at all. So yeah, for me it's like very normal to like I know that there are people who, for example, like they take up daily drawing and they do that for years and they don't miss a day, or like they miss a day or two here and there, but mostly they're like, I'm just drawing every day. That's just my creative practice. That's how I do. Yeah, I'm not that person at all. I will have a lot of like up and downs in general. So yeah, and I mean I used to be very how do you say, like insecure about that and like thinking something's wrong with me. Why can't, like, am I like a lazy person or what?
Oh.
But I think it's, yeah, I think it's, nowadays I think it's very normal that like we all have different ways in how we are, like, how we work.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's weird that there would be, like, why would there only be one way that should work for everyone? Like, with everything, I think there's, like,
Yeah.
so many different ways you can do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and we already had, like, this one episode where we talked about this kind of, like, toxic productivity and stuff like that. And I think this, like, relates to that very much, that it's, like, of course, we are kind of fed this one way of like being successful and good at your work and stuff, but in reality that's not how life works. And that's why we also thought it would be good to maybe have this topic to kind of normalize this not being constantly creative, or not being like that there are times when you can't put out good work. And those times can come for different reasons, but it's okay. It happens to a lot of us, maybe most of us, maybe all of us. I don't know. So, like, it's okay. Because I know that I've heard other people also say about how, like, when they, for example, they finished some... Oh, yeah, I think I was watching this video by Fur Little Peach. You know, Sean Dantes, the illustration who does a lot, the illustrator who does these really cool studio vlogs on YouTube. And she was actually talking about like her first book, about how she got like really burnt out by the end of that project, because it's like such a huge project, and then she couldn't draw or do anything creative for like a while. And she also like thought that what if this is that she kind of like overused her creative juices, that this project was too much for her and now she can't do anything at all. And like, I guess it's like for a lot of us, it's like this thing that we might think like, okay, was this it? Was this like, did I run out of my creativity and now like I'm never gonna get back to this?
I feel like that fear kind of comes up every time I'm in this place where I'm like not feeling creative at all. Yeah, definitely relate.
Yeah. But I think like, the more we kind of talk about it, the more like we kind of know that, okay, if you feel that way, that's actually like, you just need time and you can get back to it. Like, eventually.
Yeah.
But definitely I've had a lot of times when I didn't draw, and that's always sad, but it like, I guess our brains need recharging or resting every now and then.
Have you noticed, like, is there something specific that maybe, like, is going on in your life that, or, like, what are things that kind of, are there some specific things that make it harder for you to kind of be creative or keep drawing, or, like, you know, does this make sense?
Yeah, for me, it's all kinds of things. Like, of course, if I am getting, like, a depressive episode, that would definitely influence it. Or if, I don't know, something happened that like made me upset, then I get less able to do stuff. But of course, like, that would maybe stop me for like a couple days, so that wouldn't be like very big. But I even noticed that for me, my like the way I work even changes with my menstrual cycle.
Oh, really? But that's so cool.
Yeah, I didn't like notice that before, but now that I'm like tracking it in this app, So now I know where I am in my cycle all the time. I notice that there are times when I'm really productive, that I'm really motivated. I want to do stuff. I don't get tired. I just like work and or like make things, and I'm really excited and I'm in a good mood, and like I just like have a lot of energy to do stuff. And it's always on the same time of my cycle. So it's just like some hormone thing. And then there are times that I can't do anything, and that's also always at the same like time of my cycle.
Oh my god, I gotta start tracking my cycle, because that sounds like super valuable information, because then it kind of makes it maybe more okay. Like I would think it would make it more okay in my mind. Like, okay, this is just this time of the month when I just like this happens, so it's okay, you know.
Yeah,
that I can't do
and
things.
you can also plan accordingly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I would suggest, like anyone who menstruates, I suggest you try like paying attention to your like emotional state and your motivation and your energy levels and where they are in your cycle. That, of course, given like your cycle is more or less regular.
Oh wow.
But yeah, and that is like very like I really love getting that information, because that's so like I don't know, it's really cool.
Yeah, it sounds really cool, and it's nice to kind of just understand yourself better and like where you're going and why you might be feeling this way. Because sometimes things are just so confusing, and they might that might put more pressure on yourself, that it's somehow, I don't know, like, because at least for me, it's like I can like be a bit blamey of myself, like blame myself for why don't I feel creative, or why am I not being creative or something. But then if it's like, oh, but this just, you know, kind of happens. I don't know, like it kind of, you know, it's not your fault. I mean, not that it's ever, exactly. But you know.
Yeah,
maybe it
like,
makes it easier.
I'm not lazy, it's just, that's just how my hormones work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. But how about you? Have you noticed anything like causing you those periods of creative block or not being able to draw?
Yeah, I think there's like a few things at least. Definitely like if I'm really stressed out and just busy with like a lot of other work or just life things, then that's like there's not enough time to put aside to that, or like just like no energy left like after all the other stuff that I have to do. And it's like, I kind of it's like the thing that kind of I most easily maybe like let go of, or kind of, you know, I don't prioritize it if there's a lot going on, which like is natural, but also sometimes maybe it could go a different way. But then also then just like life stuff, like if I'm feeling like just bad mental health wise, it's really hard to kind of, I don't know, like for me creativity kind of takes a lot of effort, especially if it's like been a while and it's something I have to kind of get used to again. Then it's really hard to kind of put in that effort if I'm already like, if I'm feeling depressed or anxious or anything like that. And then also like when you were talking about Sean, the like I definitely recognize like if I've had like an intense drawing project, I won't want to draw for a while, and then sometimes that break kind of, it's like hard. Yeah, it's always like hard for me to get back to it like after a break, I feel like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I also wanted to like bring that up, like about like skill. Like, do you think you like if you gain some skill, if you like do something every day, like in our case drawing, and then if you don't do it for a while, do you feel like you lose some of that skill that you've gained and then you need to kind of gain it again?
Well, I definitely feel like I feel rusty a lot. Like I can notice that like, you know, my lines are more shaky or kind of like not as what's the word? Like confident, or, you know, that I kind of feel like I just feel like less confident, and kind of it's just like I feel more clumsy when I'm drawing, but I don't think I view it as that I'm losing skills. It's more like my hand is not used to this now. So I just have to get my hand used to it again. And then, you know, that it's more like this motor thing. That my hand's not used to this type of movement now. So I have to get it like used to it again. And then, but I definitely like, at least that's how I like think about it logically. But then, like, feelings-wise, I do sometimes, like, I do feel like, oh my god, like, I can't draw anymore, like, as well as I used to. Which feels, like, at the same time, I mean, of course, sometimes I create something and I'm like, oh, this is so much worse than something I created 2 years ago, and that can feel kind of devastating, but also, I don't kind of believe that. Like, sure, maybe, like, this one illustration can like not be so good, but I don't believe that, you know, my skills or like that I can't draw as well as I could 2 years ago or something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like it's sometimes it's like I do get it, like I do get the feeling and like the fear of that what if I'm just like never gonna be as good as I was then. And actually I've been thinking that like this Inktober, because 2 years ago was like my favorite like I was making some of my favorite art, and because I was challenging myself a lot, so I was making these like full kind of scenes, you know, with backgrounds and stuff. And like some of my favorite, like especially one of my favorite paintings of mine I created in that time. And I kind of feel like I've never gotten close to that. I mean, I've created like art that I might like more even in a way, but they've been so different that it's, I don't know, like I kind of hold that piece of art as something that is like, can I ever reach that again? I don't know. And then sometimes it can be like, it can feel a bit devastating and like a lot of pressure that I don't really need to put on myself, because I've also like changed, like my art has changed, so it's not like I should be trying to do that. But yeah, I have this thing in my head with this one particular piece that I get that.
Yeah, I do, like, because for me also like drawing doesn't come very naturally. Like I kind of, initially I had to kind of learn it very slowly, and I mean I'm still like I feel like I'm always, when I'm drawing, I'm like getting better. So I do sometimes feel like, you know, like the same way as in like training, when you're training all the time, you like either gaining or kind of keeping the same level of like muscle strength or like what's it called, endurance, or like, you know, whatever it is that you're training. And then if you don't train for a while, you lose some of that.
Yeah.
But because I know from training, for example, I know that I do lose some of it, but I gain it so much faster.
Yeah.
The second time around, and then even faster the third time around, and it's always like it's fine. Like,
true.
If I took a break from, I don't know, some kind of physical activity, then I can always get back to it. Like, of course, given that like nothing is injured or anything, but if it's just like,
sure,
you know, for some reason I got sick, for example, and I didn't do anything physical for like a couple of weeks. Then I go back. Of course, I'm like weaker and like not as good at all of that stuff, but I will gain it much quicker. So I feel like I don't know if it's just something I'm telling myself or if that's how it actually works, but I feel the same way with like drawing. I do feel that I lose that skill that I've gained. Like I do feel like I'm not as good at like doing things that I've learned to do, but it's like much faster to get to the same level I was before before I had to stop for a while than it was in the beginning. Like it took me years to actually learn to draw something that I like that looks looks like illustrations to me and not just, you know, drawings of someone who doesn't know how to draw. Of course, like that I'm not talking about it in like objective sense, but like for me personally with my own art, it took me a really long time. But now, even if I haven't drawn for a while and I sit down to draw and I just can't do anything, like after a little while I get back to that level.
Yeah.
Much quicker. I don't have to learn it from scratch or anything. So it's also like it's fine. It like you don't even though it kind of feels like you lost some skill or some strength, if it's like something some other thing, like it feels like you lost some skill, but actually it's maybe like you're not used to it, or it's kind of like it's there in your muscle memory, but you kind of need to
remind
start
yourself
doing things. Or like start doing something so that it gets extracted from your memory, comes back to your actual hands or whatever. Like it was like put in storage and you need to like it's not so easily available anymore. You need to like take a little bit more steps to get it.
And sometimes, you know, you maybe lost the key, so you have to spend some time looking for the key. Exactly. Oh my god, we're coming up with amazing metaphors. Amazing.
For this. It's like something you used to use every day, but then once you weren't using it, you put it in like, you know, a little bit far away. So you need to take a little bit of time to reach it. But it's not like you're, you know, shopping for it all over the place and looking for it or building it from scratch or anything. It's still there. It's
safe, you know. You just have to.
It's a little hidden.
I love this. Me too. Wow.
Yeah, we didn't plan this. We came up with these amazing metaphors just now, talking about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So have you like noticed, like when you've been like on this drawing break or like a break from drawing, how do you like actually start getting back to it, or how does it work for you?
I think for me, like the thing that works the best is doing it with other people.
Oh, that's
like,
good.
Yeah, like if I haven't drawn in a while, but you and me, for example, agree to draw together, or we do this podcast and we draw together, or like I have this other friend who we work like outside of home together a lot. She's doing like a completely different thing, but she also like struggles with working at home, and I sometimes also like can't concentrate at home. So we decide like, okay, let's come and work together at a library or at this cafe or somewhere. And then sometimes we even do it at each other's places. It's still faster, but usually like we both leave home, so there's like another place, and then we both do our thing. So sometimes I'll draw while she's doing something else, but like kind of getting this motivation from another person. And then because also when I set this time aside, if I do it by myself, it's not gonna work. But if I do it with someone else, I agree. Like, let's call at this time, or let's meet at this time, or like, let's go on that day to that place. Like, then I know that this is the time when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So even though I might struggle, I might not come up with anything beautiful, in the end, it's still like I'm still gonna sit there and do that for a while. So that always helps me, even though I don't always, like, that won't guarantee that now I'm gonna, from that day on, I'm gonna draw every day. Like, it's not a guarantee, but at least I'm gonna draw on that day at that time.
Yeah.
And sometimes something really nice comes out of that. And sometimes it's it's ugly, but, or like, I don't like it, but it's okay. I still, I was still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Drawing.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Like, for me as well, it's so helpful. Like, I love drawing together with you because it's totally different alone. Like, I mean, of course, like, sometimes I can do it alone, but a lot of the time I do procrastinate about it. And maybe, like, also, like, when I talk at the same time, there's, like, I feel less pressure about, like, what the outcome is, because I'm also just, like, having a nice time with you. So it's not, like, it doesn't feel as, I don't know, like, as, this is now gonna decide my fate as an artist.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm doing this thing that I enjoy, but I'm also at the same time doing this other thing that I enjoy, which is, like, hanging out with a friend, so.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Okay, should we take a break and then discuss some more ideas of what helps us?
Yes, let's do that. We are now on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it is a platform where you can support your favorite creatives with a monthly pledge that you can change or delete anytime. Our Patreon page will work as a tip jar with one tier that is €2 a month or more if you wish. The money will go towards paying for our podcast hosting fees. In the future, we hope to also create exclusive content for you on Patreon. So, if you enjoy listening to our podcast, consider supporting us on Patreon.
And we're back. And so we were talking about coming back from the radio blog.
Back.
And what works for us. So, have you noticed anything else apart from drawing with other people that helps you come back from a blog?
Definitely. So I kind of feel like I always have to force myself to draw after a break. Like, I don't really, I mean, sometimes maybe, but most of the time I don't really enjoy it very much at first. Like, it's kind of doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. And usually, like, the things that I draw when I'm kind of just starting after, like, a break, I don't love it. So it's like it's a struggle for me. So I've always found helpful these drawing challenges, which I've talked about before, because it's kind of just, like, forces me to do it, or at least, like, gives me more motivation because I feel more accountable. And then it also kind of helps me, I think, if I, like, the fact that if I'm drawing constantly, it doesn't feel as much like each piece has to be perfect, because it feels natural to me. Like, of course, if you draw a lot, not everything's going to be great, but if you only draw, like, more rarely, then I feel like each piece kind of holds more significance, and, like, there's more pressure for it to turn out well, because now we're finally drawing again, so it has to be something, worth it. So that's something that I find helpful. But, like, definitely I just, like, it usually sucks, like, drawing after a break. I mean, of course, sometimes it's like, oh my god, I can't wait to draw, and, like, it's been, like, sometimes if it's been, the break has been because of, like, some outside circumstance, mostly if it's been, like, okay, I've been busy with other work, but I'm, like, otherwise kind of feeling fine, so then I can be like, oh, I'm so looking forward to, like, soon I'll be able to, like, draw, and, like, I'm excited about it. But for example, this year that hasn't really been how it's gone. It's more like, oh my god, shit, like, I have to get back to drawing because I'm supposed to be an artist, but I'm not, like, feeling inspired. So it's like, I feel like it's taken quite a lot of work to try and do that now. It feels like work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely like I can relate to that, like how it like sucks when you
Yeah.
I feel that that's actually like when you get those fears and those thoughts that like have I lost it, am I never gonna be able, like I feel at least for me that it's not like during this break, because during this break it's often that your head is busy with like all this other stuff that prevents you from being creative. So kind of like, at least for me, like I'm not at that time thinking about it, but then when I'm like, okay, now I want to sit down and draw, I have some time and energy, and I sit down and it just doesn't work. I don't know what to draw. I have no ideas. I like my hand doesn't feel right. I don't know what to even pick up because I don't know which of these tools I know how to use anymore. Like, and that's when you start feeling like, okay, like I don't feel like this illustrator who is like drawing fun things. I feel so fake now, like I'm just trying to force this. I think like that's when it's like the strongest, that you have this fear that it's like, okay, it's over. I don't know how to draw anymore. I have no ideas anymore. Like, why do I even call myself an artist? This is not how an artist like feels, you know, like it seems that like an artist doesn't feel that way, which I'm sure is not true. I'm sure.
I mean, we are artists who feel that way.
That's exactly how artists feel. Like even sometimes, like when you study all those, you know, artists who you study, they have all felt that way. Exactly. That's actually like common knowledge, but somehow we put this pressure on ourselves.
But I definitely like really get that kind of imposter feeling, like when I'm not drawing and I'm supposed to be an artist. It feels like this weird disconnect, but also like at the same time I totally believe, I mean, like you said, like for some people that daily drawing thing, I'm sure like it works for some people, but also like I believe that for me, and I'm sure like for a lot of people, it's so natural. Like, of course, life affects how we function and what we're like capable of, and like what things take priority. Like, you know, and for me, like if things get too overwhelming, which like life does get overwhelming for me like quite easily, then I need to like really think about like what I really, really have to do, and then try to like get those things done, but kind of cut myself a lot of slack and like take a lot of time to rest if I can. And you know, like that's more important to me in those times.
And it doesn't make you less professional.
I guess. I hope so. I mean, I sounded so confident,
but it's just how you function.
That's true. It's true.
And also I was thinking now that like some of us have more than one creative outlet. Like some of us do illustration and that's our whole life, and all you do is draw, and that's your job, and that's also your free time, and like and then I guess there's like more space in your mind for that, because that's like your main creative outlet, and that's really cool. But also like for me personally, first of all, like I think my brain really strives on like changing things up all the time. So I think it just doesn't work for me to do something every day, like the same thing, because then I'm gonna lose interest in that. So like I need to do this, and then well, I haven't been doing like a lot of music lately, but that's like also one like outlet for me. And then also I like to like crochet and punch needle and like do that stuff. That's like another outlet. And and then I like now I also like to do tattoos, and that's this other thing. And I guess I'm like I used to also think that I'm just this indecisive person who can't just like pick one thing and become really good at it, but now I kind of realized that I'm probably forever going to be trying new things and stopping some other things, and that's fine. That's just like, that's how I stay creative. Like, I just get excited about new things. I try them out. I stick to some of them. I get bored with others, and like, that's also okay.
Yeah,
and that
I
also
think
doesn't make you unprofessional either.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because I am like very much the same way, that I go through, like, I get really excited and interested in one thing, like even with like non-creative stuff, just in general. I'm like this person who like gets super into something. I like I'm like thinking about that all the time and reading about it and doing it and whatever, and then then I need another thing in a while. So I think it's like super enriching, it's like a richness of experience in my life, that I can like get excited about different things and enjoy different things. Like, I think it's definitely a huge like resource, or like a source of happiness and like inspiration, like you said. And like, it's really cool that we can get excited about a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I definitely see it like as a strength, or like as a positive aspect,
Yeah, I think I'm learning to embrace it also.
Yeah.
Because of course I realized that with some things or with some professions, it's very important to like have a lot of experience. So it might be kind of unprofessional for that particular thing to like, change it up all the time. Sometimes you need to do something a lot if you want to get good at it. But then there are certain people with certain mindsets that are good at it, and they do it, and they're professional in that. But I think with creative jobs, you don't necessarily, I mean, of course it depends again on the techniques and what you do, but there are a lot of things where like you can change your mind and you can do different things and you can experiment. And you still make great things, and there's still people who are gonna want to experience those things from you. So,
and I think like our culture definitely has this thing, like that it, that there's this pressure that you kind of have to pick one thing and then get very good at it, and kind of. But I've kind of noticed, like, in the last few years that, like, I really, for example, look up to people who kind of are, like, creatively curious and, like, just try out different things. And also I think it gives, because there was a definite switch, like, when I started my own company and like became a professional illustrator. Of course it changed the way I view drawing. Like, before that I was doing it because I really enjoy it and wanted to share it with people. And while those things are true, there's also this whole new like stress related to it and pressure, because money and everything. So I also feel like with the other creative things that I can do, like, it's so important for us to do things, creative things that don't have those pressures attached to them, you know?
So sometimes even like just doing something else for a while might help you come back to that main big thing that you want to be your, like, even though that's not the main thing for you at this period of time, it doesn't mean that it failed to be your main thing in life. You just might need a break from it because there is like all this other stuff attached to it, like all these pressures.
That's so true.
If you made your favorite creative outlet, if you made it also your career, then it's not going to be only fun anymore. It's also going to be stressful now. So you also need to rest from it sometimes, because now it's not just fun.
Yeah, that's so true. And because like this kind of pressure is probably it's very easy for this to kind of kill creativity when you feel this pressure. So yeah, I think it's so important to be creative in ways where you don't have to feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you also need to, if this is a struggle you have, you also need to nurture your creativity somehow, because all these attached annoying things, they want to kill your creativity, so there needs to be like some opposite force that feeds your creativity, and I guess that is like different from everyone.
Yeah. And I think like in a way that's also something that you're not supposed to, not actually, but it kind of feels like you're not supposed to think or say. Like if you're an artist, people probably presume like, oh my god, you get to do the thing you love, like for your job, like you get to draw, and if drawing is your favorite thing, like how could that be, like how could there be anything negative about it or something? But of course, like course it's like different there are like these things that stress you out, and you feel the pressure, and you just need because it's a job, and with any job there are these things. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, should we answer a question, or do you still have anything to add on the topic?
We could, let's go to the weekly question. Let's do it.
Okay, so question of the week. New flanged _ asked, since you both moved, do you miss anything from your last place, and hope the new one is ++.
Aww. Do you want to start, since you were the first of us to move?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, the new one is definitely ++. It's definitely great, and like literally it's a ++ because there is like more space, more everything. But yeah, I definitely miss my previous place, and that is also like a new thing for me, because before, like we lived in my previous place, we lived there for 6 years, and before that we lived in a student apartment, and the student apartment wasn't like very exciting. Of course, it was like also, it was the first place we moved in together with my partner, so in that way it was really exciting, because that's like where we started our family, and that's where we got our first cat, and it was like a very big deal. But it like the apartment itself, like it wasn't a good apartment.
Sure.
So I was like super excited to move, and also we were like there was a bit of a stress for us to move at that time, because we were both finishing our studies, and once you're not a student anymore, you can't live in a student apartment. So we had to kind of move fast. So there was also like a lot of, because it's not, at least at that time, it wasn't very easy to find an apartment for us. So yeah, there was a lot of stress with it. So it was like a huge relief to find that apartment, and also like it was so much nicer than that ugly student apartment. And I was so inspired to like, make it nice, make it our own. And yeah, and I put a lot of love into that apartment. And during the whole 6 years, I've been always like changing it and making it nicer for us to live in. So it was like evolving that whole time, and that was like, I started my business while living there, so also my workspace kept changing, and I was making it better and better. And I don't know, I just put like so much into that apartment that of course I kind of miss it. even though there were a lot of things I didn't like about it that are now like much better in this one. So in that way, I don't miss how dark it was and how all of my plants had to be in one spot. Now they can be everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't miss the teeny tiny bathroom where I didn't even enjoy like showering or anything because it was just not very cozy or anything. And like, yeah, but still, I don't know. It's a weird feeling because I think like while I realized that this is so much better and a lot of things that I dreamed of having now I have, I still, because I think like I got emotionally attached to that apartment, so maybe that's why like those are the things I still miss. One thing I definitely miss is the stove.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had a much better stove there, because like when we moved in there was like this very generic stove, but then it broke. And we contacted the owners of the apartment and they just gave us a budget and told us that we can buy the stove ourselves and they will pay for it. So we bought like the most expensive stove we could afford on that budget. So it was like a much nicer, this flat, glass or ceramic. What is it called? Like the ones that have this flat glass top. For me, that was like so fancy because I've always had only this very generic, cheapest kind of stoves in these rented apartments. But yeah, now we again have this very generic stove and it's working, so we can't really ask to change it. So yeah, that I miss. I mean, it's not a big deal. I don't even cook, so
Oh my god.
but I feel very strongly about how my apartment looks visually, and that stove was so much more stylish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the thing I miss, but of course it's not a huge deal. It's just one little thing that is a bit annoying to my eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely this emotional attachment to that place. And we had so many people visit us there, like so many friends who stayed in that apartment. And I also have like very good memories of like, because for us it's very important to have like a space for guests in the apartment, because I live away from my family, so my family visits me, they need a place to sleep. And also like we have friends in Russia who visit us sometimes and we love to have them over. That's a very important thing for me in the apartment. So also like we always consider that when we get furniture, like we can't just get a couch, we need to get a couch that opens into a bed. So I kind of like I put an effort to have the place like welcoming to other people. So I have like all these memories of people staying there, and because we moved during a pandemic, we still don't have any memories of any people staying in this apartment because nobody can visit us. So yeah, that I kind of miss, but I'm sure eventually we'll have those memories here also. We still have that couch. There's still space for people.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And I've slept on that couch a few times too. It's a very comfy couch.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Did I answer the question?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
But yes, I'm definitely really happy with this place. It's much better for us.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Yeah, so for me, I've only lived here for a little over a month. So I'm still like very much getting used to this place. So I feel like I kind of miss a lot of things about the old place. Like same as you, I feel like this is a much better place for us. Like we fit here a lot better, and like we have this workspace which is so like I'm very happy about. But definitely like it doesn't really yet feel like this safe nest that the old place felt like. Like it was just so familiar and felt so homey, and it was like so cozy. And yeah, definitely like so many memories. Like for me, like all of my adulthood, like everything happened there. Or like, I mean, everything that's gone on in my life, it's gone on there. So it's it still feels very strange to suddenly be in a new place for me. But And one thing I also miss was the sheep. There were these sheep like every like I guess from spring to like early autumn that we could just like walk to this sheep pasture. And it was so nice, especially like this year. I think these sheep saved me. Like it was the highlight of the week to go and visit them, and I usually went like a few times a week even. So I kind of like miss the environment there, even though like it's even way more beautiful in here, and I'm sure like it will just take time to kind of feel as at home, both like in this apartment and like in this larger environment. So I kind of just miss, I think I miss just like feeling like really safe in this little homey, cozy nest. But I also think, you know, it's just something that takes time. And I'm sure we're gonna get there with this place as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually like one thing I'm wondering if I'm gonna miss is the what is the name of the tree? The evergreen trees that we have here a lot.
Like the silvery
pine? No, the pine.
Oh, the pine.
Trees.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we also have had the spruce there, like a bunch of those, but also there was at least one pine tree behind our window, and there was like the whole forest next to our house that had a lot of pine trees. And I mean, that forest is still quite close because we didn't move very far from where we were, but we don't see that from our window anymore. And now there's like a lot of greenery behind our windows, but it's all like leafy trees. So now it's like amazing and beautiful, but I'm now thinking like when in winter all of the leaves are gonna fall, like how much greenery are we actually gonna have? Maybe none. So I'm a little like worried if I'm gonna miss that. Yeah, but I'm really happy to be much closer to the water because that's like one of my favorite nature places is like the sea or like any kind of water, and now we're like right next to the water. So actually when the leaves fall, I'm gonna see water from my balcony.
So maybe it's a good trade-off.
Yeah. So I guess it's fine. And also there's like the park is still near, so we can always go in there, and also there's another park on the other side which also has the water. So there's still a lot of like beautiful nature around. Nice. But just like right behind our window there's a big tree which is gonna be all naked in the winter, and I'm like, okay, let's see how it looks. Am I gonna still like this in the winter? Am I gonna miss our pine tree? Yeah, am I gonna miss our pine tree behind our window? So yeah, that's one other thing I remembered, but I don't miss it yet because it's still full of leaves. So let's see.
We now have like pine tree views from our windows, which is very different because we used to have like these leafy trees. So we've like switched apartments, not really, but you know, views. Yeah. But yeah, exciting new chapters for both of us. Yeah, definitely. I'm still to visit your new place, but. One of these days soon.
It's so funny that like you moved before you even saw my new place. But you have to be first to come over. I'm not coming over before you see our place. Because our place is older.
That's fair. I promise.
I mean, I mean, I would come over.
I know.
If that would work. But it would be more satisfying to me if you visited us first.
I promise I'll come over. I can't wait to see the place. It looks so beautiful.
That would feel right by me. All right. But yeah, I hope this episode was interesting. Yeah, we kind of went on a lot of tangents, but I like to talk about these kind of things. Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure a lot of artists are like talking about behind the scenes, but it still feels that like people who don't do the kind of job that we do maybe sometimes have like this romanticized ideas about, or like expectations.
Yeah,
How
I definitely
we're always
did.
creative and yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope you like feel better about yourself if you've been struggling with anything else after listening to this. At least that's what we would want.
Yeah, exactly.
We would be happy if like you feel more seen.
Yeah, like if you're in that
struggle.
place. Yeah, if you're in that place where you're finding it hard to, if you're thinking of getting back to drawing or trying to get back to drawing and it's a struggle, just know that, like, yeah, we feel you. Like, it can be a struggle, but it doesn't mean that it's a struggle forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you will enjoy drawing again.
Yes, you will. Okay, well, thanks so much for listening. And I guess we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, thank you and see you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Drawing Club podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram at Drawing Club Podcast or email us at drawingclubpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also find me, Mia, on Instagram at mia.minerva and on YouTube as Mia Minerva. Sasha, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Sasha_Kretova.
This podcast was created by us, Mia Minerva and Sasha Kretova.
Olli Arni created the theme song and assisted with the recording, and Dmitry Zherbin took care of audio mastering.
Welcome to the club, friends.